taking a look at the NECC, this one sets up great.
Yeah.
With the come from behind last week against Fairfield, Churubusco, undefeated in conference play, taking on a Lakeland team also undefeated in conference play. This one will be at Busco, so maybe a little bit of edge there, but Lakeland's been so good offensively this year.
Yes, they have. These are very similar programs under veteran coaches. Keith Thompson's been at Lakeland for 8 years, and Lee Etzler's been 11 or 12 years at Churubusco. Both programs are really, really good programs, and they do it on both sides of the ball. Churubusco last week ran the ball. Obviously, that's what they want to do. But here's the key to this game. Churubusco can't get behind Lakeland, because when they're behind, then they have to pass, or their offense is not geared to score quickly. But last week they caught a break. Corey Miller returned to kickoff in the final 2 minutes all the way down into the red zone of Fairfield, and then they were able to bust it in from there, and Busco was able to use their special teams to score quickly to pull that game out. But if Lakeland's a really good team. If they get up 7-14 on Busco, Busco could be in trouble, because their offense is really methodical. It takes a lot of time to march down the field. They want to eat clock, and if it gets down to 2-3 minutes to go in the game and they're down 7 or 10, they're in a world of hurt. Now, I don't think that'll happen. I think Busco wins this game. They've won this series 4 years in a row, but 2 of those have been really close. So I think Busco will be okay, but I'm just saying, if it gets late and Busco trails, they're in trouble.
Yeah, their offense is built around the run. Jason Nicodemus, 300 yards last week in a big win against Fairfield. If you're the Lakeland Lakers, what do you say? You say we have to take away the run. We have to put 8-9 guys in the box. Is that the focus this week?
Yes, it is, but everybody says that every week against Churubusco. Here's the thing about Jason Nicodemus, and they have some other guys that run the ball as well, but Nicodemus, he will get hit after 2 or 3 yards, and he'll drag you another 3 to 4 yards. So it ends up being a 7-yard run that is on sheer will by Jason Nicodemus. I mean, most guys would go down after 3 yards. He gains 6 or 7 out of that run. And they do that over and over and over again. And they're so disciplined, and their blocking scheme is so good. And I'll tell you this, Busco statistically cannot pass the ball. But I saw Jay Petrie last week in a driving rain, miserable conditions, cold, all that. He was throwing good balls. The receivers were dropping them. So I'm not saying that Busco's quarterback can't throw the ball, because I saw him throw the ball well, but they have to get the receivers to catch the ball. Now, the wet conditions had to play into that as well, but that really what Lakeland has to do is try to create some turnovers, strip the ball on some runs, and somehow contain that running game. You're not going to shut it down, but if you can contain it to a degree and force turnovers, then you got a chance.
And we've seen Petrie make some plays with his legs as well this season, so he can do some things both with the legs and with the arm. We'll have to see how that one plays out. Should be a great ball game up at Churubusco as 2 teams undefeated in conference battle. It feels weird to be talking about the last week of the regular season and not really talking much about the Battle of the Bishops.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to that yet.
Because you take a look at it, and SAC championships already locked up, first time in forever. It seems like that this hasn't played a role in who is going to be taking home the victory bell.
8 losses between these 2 teams. Now, I'm not going to jump on the Bishop Luers' mediocre bandwagon that everybody around the state seems to be jumping on. What the poll voters don't get is who these losses have been to. Bishop Luers is a good team. They've played an incredibly tough schedule. Bishop Luers will be fine once they get in the 2A tournament. Bishop Dwenger, that's a whole nother matter. They are really struggling this year. They've struggled since day one with their quarterback situation. They played a different kid again last week. I think they're in trouble against Luers. Luers always, both teams get pumped up for this game, but Luers is a better team by far on both sides of the ball. Bishop Luers wins this game comfortably, but you're right. It is strange that we've talked about all these games. We haven't even gotten to that one yet.
And Dwenger's caught the bad end of some injuries this year. It started the first week of camp with Mike Fiacable. Their backup quarterback gets hurt in the scrimmage. Nick German didn't play last week. You take a look at the 43-0 loss to Snyder. Not really indicative of the progress, perhaps, that they've made throughout the season. And again, like you said with Luers, you have to take a look at where some of these losses are against. You're talking Bishop Chatard, Indianapolis Cathedral. Those are some statewide programs year in, year out.
Right. Both Luers and Dwenger, they're not afraid to play somebody. I mean, if the Patriots were open, Chris Schwarzkopf would schedule him. I mean, he wants to challenge his kids and play the best. He's said that for years, even when they had great teams and now they're struggling. Hey, to be the best, you got to play the best. And so Schwarzkopf's not afraid to play anybody. And so that will help them once they get in the tournament. They're not going to get in the tournament and see anybody they haven't seen before as far as quality of play. But this coming Friday night, Luers too good, both sides of the ball. They got to shore up their quarterback situation. They got to get more stability from that quarterback position. But they can always run the ball, and they've got a good defense. So the future is bright for Luers as we go into that last month and a half of the season. Dwenger, I think they can make a little bit of noise in the tournament, but not much.